CNBC has exclusive data from the National Federation for Credit Counseling and the Harris poll showing how Americans are struggling with debt and how it cuts across all income levels. Sharon Epperson joins us now to break down this data. It sounds a little concerning.
It is concerning, Leslie. Data shows that many Americans are missing the mark on executing financial basics like budgeting, building emergency savings, paying bills on time, even though they give themselves top grades on their knowledge of personal finance. According to the National Foundation for Credit Counseling survey that was conducted by the Harris poll, more than half of Americans do not have a budget. 2 in 5 carry credit card debt month to month with an average balance of about $6,500. And while lower income households are most likely to worry about paying for basic expenses, new research shows Americans face a serious debt dilemma regardless of how much money they make.
It really doesn't matter on the income level. It's really about the debt level, because when you reach the tipping point that the interest expense exceeds what you can afford to pay, that's what gets the consumer into trouble.
There's several signs consumers' debt struggles are getting worse. The latest NFCC survey found the percentage of people who said they made a credit card payment less than the required minimum in the last 6 months rose to 13% in August, up from 8% in the spring. There was the same increase in people who transferred debt between cards, and the share of borrowers who consolidated credit card debt into a personal loan doubled to 8%, up from 4%. Other data from VantageScore shows more consumers are failing to pay bills on time compared to a year ago, and payments that are more than 90 days late are rising.
The employment environment, that's worsening, and we're seeing that in late payments. But the reality is another trend that's been going on for some time is inflation and sustained high interest rates. Those are the other key drivers of that change.
VantageScore's Tavares says an across-the-board increase in late payments over the past year shows signs of financial strain even among the most credit-worthy borrowers. For strategies on dealing with debt and easing that strain, subscribe to my free Money 101 newsletter series. You can use the QR code right there on the screen or go to cnbc.com/money101. Leslie.
Sharon, how are lenders reacting to the growing debt dilemma? Are you seeing them kind of failing to extend credit? Are they pulling back at all?
They're certainly tightening their lending standards, and we saw that in the latest Fed survey looking at some of that data, and also from VantageScore's Tavares saying that we are definitely seeing tighter lending standards with car loans, home loans, but also consumer demand for those loans is not as great. And when you think about this latest Experian survey looking at auto loans, with 1 in 4 consumers paying as much as $1,000 a month for their car loan, you understand why people may be deciding maybe I don't want to get a new car loan.
Yeah, I think it was surprising from your report to hear that even the higher income levels are struggling with debt at this point in time. Why is that?
It starts from the basics, like having a budget. 62% of people that make $100,000 or more, according to this survey, do not have a budget. 20% are worried about being able to make their payments. And so when you look at that data and also look at the fact that some of the, quote, negative credit card behaviors that we've seen over the past 6 months, whether that is failing to pay the minimum balance or transferring between cards, that's the same percentage regardless of whether it's low income or higher income individuals. So I think the pain is being felt across the board, and there's a real squeeze kind of with the middle income consumer.
Yeah, that's really fascinating, especially, we talk all the time about just this bifurcation in terms of who's holding up from a borrowing standpoint.
Exactly.
And we often think that, when we see these normalization levels come, it's because there's an aggregate level here and that the higher income is doing better. But clearly,
they're doing it differently. People are still spending, but those at the lower income are spending for basic necessities. At the higher income, they're spending on big ticket items, but they're pulling back on that a little bit because of the tightening of the lending standards for car loans and auto loans and things that are really, high prices.
Yeah, important implications there. Sharon,
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure.